Revolutionary greetings to you, fellow Zimbabweans. My name is Terry Rai Sithole, the MDC Alliance Youth Chairperson. We are here to discuss our position as the Youth Assembly following the Supreme Court judgment that was handed by a certain compromised bench of the judiciary.
Okay, what's the position? What's the party's position over the Supreme Court ruling? The Youth Assembly's position over the Supreme Court ruling?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Our position remains the same. We stand where we stood, and we stood where we stand. Our party president is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. And let me tell you one thing. Political party leadership is never a product of courts. It is a product of the people. So as a party, we went for Congress in May 2019. We elected the leadership of the party, and the president is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. He's going to lead us up until the next Congress. And let me also assure you that even on the next Congress, as the Youth Assembly, we are ready also to elect him as the president. So we are looking beyond 2024 where we have the next Congress. Our party constitution is very clear. We go for Congress after each and every 5 years. We did that in 2019, and the next Congress is in 2024. And in that particular year again, we are going to elect Advocate Nelson Chamisa as the president. So whatever that happens is none of our business, because as the alliance, we have our own founding documents and operate in the framework of us as a political party. We don't care what happens to the courts, because we are not, personally, I'm not a legal practitioner. I'm a politician, and as a politician, I lead within the MDC Alliance. And what I'm telling you right now is the position of the youth that I lead. We are not deterred, we are not shaken, we are not moved by what happened in the Supreme Court, because it's none of our business. We're not there, neither were we responded to that particular case that was taking place at the Supreme Court. We remain clear and unambiguous with regards to the position. We support the president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Anything else that is happening right now, it remains a sideshow, and it has no capacity whatsoever to move us from what we believe in as an assembly.
Okay, the Youth Assembly, most of the Youth Assembly members, they are ready to fight for Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Do you follow in the same language with them?
Well, because I lead the youth. I am the leader of the youth. So what I move with is what the youth move with. And I want to assure the fellow Zimbabweans who are listening right now that no Youth Assembly member is going to move in any other direction. What Douglas Monzora and Komish are doing, it is simply a product of Zanu-PF extension. We are not Zanu-PF. Neither will we at some point go and wine and dine with Zanu-PF. We remain a pro-democratic political party. We believe in democracy, and we stand with democracy. This is why we cannot go to bed with Zanu-PF, because Zanu-PF does not believe in democracy. They stand for something else which we do not stand for. So as a party, we stand for democracy. We stand for peace. We stand for a better future for Zimbabwe. And that better future, the visionary is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. We as the Youth Assembly, we are just bad missionaries who are there to execute the vision that has been set by the visionary, none other than Advocate Nelson Chamisa. So as the Youth Assembly, our position is clear. And as I'm speaking on behalf of the Youth Assembly that I lead as the chairperson. Any other person who is a member of the Youth Assembly moves in that same direction. Politically, we are going to defend the party leader, who is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. By all means necessary and unnecessary, it is a position that we have since taken as an assembly.
Do you believe like what others are saying, that Monzura and Komich are sellouts?
They are not just sellouts. They are beyond that. If you say they are sellouts, we will actually be insulting the ordinary sellouts. But they are far beyond that. But one thing that I also need to highlight is that what has happened to them is just a clear vindication, a clear confirmation that they are members of Zanu-PF. What they've been doing all these whiles, they were just pretentious. They were pretending to be members of MDC, but their acts, their deeds, prove beyond any reasonable doubt that they are members of Zanu-PF. Who doesn't know that Douglas Monzora is a member of Zanu-PF? Do you know that at some point he contested for the primary elections in Zanu-PF? Do you know why he was chased away from Zoom? It's because he wanted to take over the leadership using this very same means. So Douglas Monzora is a non-Confucianist. He survives in confusion. Wherever he is, wherever there is the mention of Douglas Monzora's name, there is confusion. And this is what he has been trying to do in MDC. But hear me well. We are not going to allow anyone to destabilize the stability of the People's Project. MDC is a people's project, and the people are ready to fight for the leader, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. And I'm saying it right here, right now, that we would rather surrender everything else that we are supposed to be doing as a people to protect the people's project. We are not here for money like what others think they are for. You know, you've seen it on record that people like Douglas Monzora, people like Komich, because poverty has also become a bigger challenge. This is why people like Komich and Monzora are used to destabilize the people's project. But we are there to guard jealously against such attempts as the Youth Assembly, as the young people. We will never falter. We are not going to be shaken. We will remain clear on the agenda of protecting the people's project and protecting the people's president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. They've sold out Monzora and Komich. They've sold out. But they did not only sell out. They've just proven what they have been all these years. They've been living in pretense, and some could have believed them easily that they are part of the democratic movement. Yet they were just people who were pretending to be with us only to serve a purpose of destabilizing the institution. But we are warning them right now. The party is not going to be destabilized. We will defend the party. And this is a message that I want to send to everyone who might be tempted to be working with them. We will treat Douglas Monzora in the same manner that we treat Zanu-PF, because he has become one. We will treat Morgan Komich the very same way that we treat Zanu-PF, because he has also become one. We have no business whatsoever to focus on what Zanu-PF does. As a party, we have our own direction that we are following. And that is what we are going to do as the young people of Zimbabwe.
Are party members allowed to have different views on different issues?
Of course, it's a democratic party. Views differ. People are not homogeneous. We differ, but when we differ respectfully so. And when we differ within the confines of the party principles. What Douglas Monzora and Komich have been doing, it's not an issue of divergent views, but it's actually a typical case of betraying the people's movement. I mean, if you check the records of MDC, there are so many things that you don't agree. But when you disagree, we disagree in a certain manner that keeps you as a member of the party. What these guys have done, it is an automatic expulsion of their membership. It is an automatic termination of their membership. Because according to our constitution, it is very clear that once one goes to bed with the Zanu-PF, that person automatically becomes a non-member. This is the typical case of what has happened.
Okay. Are you not afraid that with these internal fights, a lot of youths are going to run away from voting for the MDC come 2023?
This is not an internal fight. It's not an internal fight. There are two individuals who have become overzealous. They've spent people's money, and it's now their time for payback. This is not an internal fight. I want to assure every Zimbabwean to keep calm. Everyone must stay calm. Advocate Nelson Chamisa, Wamba Dia Wamba, is in charge. And nothing else is going to destabilize that proper position. And we are also, as the young people, as the Youth Assembly, we are ready to keep him in charge. And we are prepared to do everything that it takes to keep him in charge. This is not a split. I want to correct that narrative. It's not a split. We are intact. We remain so because our MDC alliance. Whatever that happens in other political parties remains none of our business. As the MDC alliance, we know that we are intact with the leadership that was elected by the people in May of 2019. And that is the leadership that we are going to stay with up until the next Congress, where every member of the party is also going to be awarded his or her democratic right to be elected, or rather to elect.
Okay, you as the youth leader, what are you doing to preach the gospel of unity within the party?
The party is united. And the same thing that I'm doing right now, it's also a message of unity. People must know that what is happening is just but a sideshow. The party will remain intact. The party will remain united behind the able leadership of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. No effort from the state and its apparatus will bring disunity within the party. Good enough, those who are architects of disunity, have just moved away of the party, like what Douglas Monzora and Morgan Komich have done. They've moved out of the party because they're allergic to unity. But instead, they are addicted to disunity. This is why they were trying by all means to destabilize the party. Good enough, they've left in good time. The party remains intact with the leadership that was elected in 2019. And it's the leadership that is going to guide us. It's the leadership that is going to steer the ship of the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance up until the next Congress.
What would you say to someone who says that MDC is now a preoccupied party, who is now preoccupied with defending personalities rather than principles?
We are not we don't defend personalities. We defend the democratic ideals. What we stand for is democracy. What we stand for is transformational change. But of course, you must understand that wherever there's an idea is represented. So what is the reality in this case? The idea of transformative change is in this case represented by Advocate Nelson Chamisa. So in every political setting, we have the vision setter, we have the visionary. And in this case, the visionary is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. We as the missionaries, our responsibility is to ensure that the vision is executed in the rightful manner. So, but also we will not be hesitant to deal accordingly with any threats with regards to the visionary. So the visionary, because he sets the vision, we also have a mandate and a responsibility to defend the visionary. So that is not about personalities. It's about representing and defending the ideals represented by a particular leader. Let me tell you that there's one sun at a time. So wherever there's a sun that is shining, we enjoy the sunshine. That is my parting message on this particular case. So if one sun at a time, and the sun is Advocate Nelson Chamisa, us as the young people, us as the youth assembly, I think there's a fact that I also want to highlight that might not be known in public domain. As the youth assembly, we're an extension of the presidential office. So fear not, we will remain intact and will remain solidly behind the party president and the visionary as well.
Okay, yesterday Mr. Manzura said that he's been receiving lots of messages from, I think, your SG Ostalos, different kinds. And Ostalos has been going around forcing MPs and senators to write certain things on their social media platforms in support of Advocate Chamisa. What's your take on that?
It's just but a stupid allegation from Douglas Monzora. I've told you earlier on that as a party, we remain clear. Our leaders have been willingly pledging their allegiance to the party leader. No form of coercion has been used. We are not a coercive party. We are not a coercive assembly. People do this willingly because they love their leader. So it's one thing when people are desperate for followership. They just want to throw some lies to the public so that they can buy some sympathy. Typically what Douglas Monzora has been doing. But that is a fundamental lie. He's blatantly lying. Because we have no business whatsoever. We parted ways with him the moment he chose to go to bed with the Zanu-PF. So whatever that he's saying, it remains a lie. We as a party, we have people who believe in the ideals, who believe in the leader. And no one has been forced to stand with the leader. People are doing this willingly. The very same thing, because everyone has the right and the freedom to associate. Also, everyone has the freedom to disassociate. Like what Komich did and Monzora did, they exercised their freedom of disassociation. And no one bothered them because it's their choice. But for us who have remained with the party leader, for us who have remained with Advocate Nelson Chamisa, it is also our freedom of association, as well as our freedom of disassociation with the unholy alliance of Komich and Monzora. We will not follow such stupidity because we are serious people who want to see change, want to see transformation. Our responsibility as we lead the people of Movement for Democratic Change Alliance is to see change coming to the people of Zimbabwe, because the people of Zimbabwe have suffered for long. And this is part of the reason why the people of Zimbabwe have been subjected to untold suffering, because of some people who pretend to be within the democratic movement, yet they are working in cahoots with the Zanu-PF, the oppressor. So whenever a person who claims to be in the democratic movement chooses to become an oppressor, we will not hesitate to deal with the oppression. This is why earlier on I said, whoever chooses to dine and wine with Zanu-PF, we will treat him in the same manner that we treat Zanu-PF with. Zanu-PF has brought untold suffering. So many young people out there, they are jobless because of Zanu-PF. So many people cannot secure proper health care. So many people cannot secure education, all because of Zanu-PF. Then some few overzealous and selfish people choose then to dine and wine with Zanu-PF and we think that we will take that lightly. No, we will not take that lightly, because we have a future to safeguard, we have a future to protect, and that can only be done when we are moving together. Those who choose not to move with us, it's fine, it's their freedom of disassociation. Let them go. This is why I've said Douglas Monzora and Komish have since signed their termination of their MDC contracts.
Okay, is it healthy for the party to take its internal conflicts into the public domain? Wouldn't the enemies reject the conflict?
The enemies had already taken this matter to the public domain. I mean, did you at any point see us coming to you in this manner? We are doing this because they have taken it to public domain, and we have every right also to speak to the same public, because it's about the audience. If they chose to go there, we also follow them. Let me tell you, especially me on behalf of the young people, we are ready to take the fight wherever it is taken. So if they take this fight to another angle, which is not the media that we are addressing, we also follow them there, because this is a political battle, and as the young people are ready to deliver politically, which is why I've said we will remain unambiguous on this current scenario. We will remain unambiguous on this movement. We will defend and protect the party leadership and everything else that is associated with the party MDC alliance. So we don't care how the fight is being framed by the enemies that you have referred to already. We will just follow them. We will give them an equal match, because we cannot remain silent when some people choose then to discredit the efforts of the democratic movement.
Aren't you afraid of being labeled Zanu-PF? Are you labeled to do things similar to Zanu-PF when they are handling such political issues?
There's nothing similar to Zanu-PF. If anything similar to Zanu-PF, it is what Douglas Monzora and Komiche have done. To deny a reality. To deny a reality that Advocate Nelson Chamisa is the party leader who was elected by the people at a Congress that was fully constituted. That was in May. And I'm sure all of you were there to witness what happened there. So what is now happening, contrary to what happened in May, is what we call Zanu-PF's moves, just to destabilize the progress that has since been made by the leadership of the party. I know that Zanu-PF is so much afraid. They can't even sit down properly when they hear the name Nelson Chamisa. This is why they've chosen to identify people who are greedy for money, to use them in an attempt to destabilize the stability of the party. But I'm happy, and I want to assure all the listeners that the attempt to destabilize this democratic movement will not see the light of the day, because we are here to jealously guard the people's project. So any efforts shall be made with maximum effort.
Do you think that the party is getting the best legal advice in regards with this ruling?
This is not a legal battle. Like what I told you earlier on, I'm not a legal practitioner. Neither do I aspire to be one in the near future. I am a politician. I am a political leader. What you are focusing on is not a legal battle. Legal battles are fought in the courts, but this has gone beyond that. This is just but an attempt politically to tarnish the image of the institution, to destabilize the stability of the party. So we will never focus on the legalities of these matters. I've told you earlier on, and I repeat again, this is now a political battle, and we are going to take the political fight in its very manner until this issue has been brought to finality. Political undertaking is going to be the way forward. And we, as the young people in the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance, we are ready to take that political fight up until the matter is brought to finality, up until people cease to be misinformed. Because right now, the attempts by Douglas Monzora and Komish, One Morgan Komish, their attempts are meant to misinform the public. But here we are to give the rightful information. And I remember a few days ago, one Douglas Monzora was denying the fact that MDC Alliance is a party. But right now, if you have your WhatsApp, I'll send you a video where he actually confirmed that no, MDC Alliance is a party that was registered and notified to ZEC. But now, because he has forgotten, because when one is a liar, lies, you have no, you have no long legs to stand on. Lies have short legs. So he wanted to misinform the public that MDC Alliance is not a party. But we have a video of him, Douglas Monzora, actually speaking on behalf of the alliance, which he has just sold out, that we are a party that is registered. So it's just an issue of trying, he's desperately attempting to misinform the public, but we are here to inform the public in a rightful manner so that no one is misled, no one then panics, because things are still in the right direction.
But to confirm something, that this is a legal battle because the party appealed against the High Court ruling.
As I've alluded earlier on, I think there's one narration that needs to be clarified. We are set to go for a Congress in May 2019, right? Which was 5 years after 2014. As I have told you, our constitution is clear. We go for a Congress after every 5 years. So if an appeal was to be made, it was specifically just to ensure that there's no interference with the Congress that was slated for May 2019. If an appeal was to be made, that's all. We have nothing to do with the judgment, because if you look into the judgment, there's no citation whatsoever of the MDC alliance. We remain a separate entity. We remain a party favored by the majority. And that is the party that we are talking about. What happened in the courts is something different. But when we're talking about the MDC alliance, it is the party that went for Congress in 2019 and elected Advocate Nelson Chamisa as the party leader, as the president. And mind you, Advocate Nelson Chamisa is not only the president of MDC alliance, but he's also the president of this country. Because we know that he has better votes than those of Mnangagwa. But again, because of the compromised judiciary, that has also poked its nose right now in this matter to do with MDC. They did the same also with Mnangagwa. And it's also a case of them trying to equalize our president to Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa is illegitimate. So what they are just trying to do is to equalize our president with Mnangagwa. But our president remains legitimate because we elected him at a Congress that was fully constituted.
Okay, yesterday, Mr. Mozo, Commission told us that a lot of MDC members and MPs are agreeing with their thinking. What's your take on that?
It's a lie. You know, when I walked into this studio a few minutes ago, I was actually a witness of a certain meeting that was conducted. All the MPs, MDC MPs, are clear. They are solidly behind Advocate Nelson Chamisa for a simple reason. They like him as their leader. But on top of that, you might remember that when we went for elections in 2018, we had a ballot paper and with 23 presidential candidates, if not mistaken. And among those presidential candidates, we had MDCT, but we were MDC Alliance. So the MPs are products of MDC Alliance. So why would they be fearful of anything when they know that they are on track? All the MPs, as I'm speaking right now, I'm coming from that particular, I was a witness of that event, where all the MPs were clear that they are not going to be moved, they are not going to be shaken by any threats that Douglas Monzera and Commission are attempting to do on them. They remain clear and solidly behind Advocate Nelson Chamisa, who is their president. So anything else contrary to what I'm telling you right now, it is a lie. And why is it a lie? It is a lie because these two men within their unholy alliance, they are trying to gain sympathy from the public. But they will not succeed because they don't inspire anyone. Who can follow Morgan Komish? Who in his or her right mind will follow Morgan Komish? A certified womanizer, a certified liar, a certified confusionist. Do you know that in 2018 when we went to elections, where we had double candidates, it was the interference of Morgan Komish. So who in his or her rightful thinking will follow such a man on serious issues to do with a political leadership? No one will do that. They don't have people. If they're the way they were going to probably get people, if they're the way to communicate the Almighty, maybe they were going to request the Lord to create more people for them. Because as it stands, they have no following. What kind of a person can be followed? Do you know that Morgan Komish cannot even inspire his own son? His own son was never a member of MDC. Because Morgan Komish does not inspire anyone. Then you tell us that you inspire anyone to follow him. That will never happen. It would actually be easier for you to believe that you can get a virgin from a labor ward than to think that Morgan Komish can inspire a person to follow him. It doesn't happen that way. It can also be easier for you to believe that a mosquito can cure malaria than for you to believe that Komish can be followed by any single person in his or her rightful thinking. That cannot happen.
But aren't the MPs doing the way which Mr. Komish needs to do? Monzora were doing from, I think, for the past 2 years, following Advocate Chamisa, doing whatever for Advocate Chamisa, while they are cooking something behind the scenes.
My friend, let me tell you one thing. I'm standing here not as a spokesperson of MPs. So I cannot speak of what they are thinking. I'm not a prophet. I don't know what is their mind for future purposes. But I'm telling you what is right now, what is right here before us. I'm telling you what is happening. The MPs are clearly behind and solidly behind Advocate Nelson Chamisa. So of course they cannot predict about the future. And it is not my duty then also to invest in predicting what they might do in future. But I'm telling you, because it was in response to what you said, that some MPs are solidly behind the Dag and Morgan's stupidity. So I was just, in a way, trying to clarify and telling you the realities that are on ground. It becomes a different issue on what they do in future. That much I'm not be privy to know, because it's about the person. But I'm telling you what is happening right now.
But you also in the MDC, when you had meetings with Mr. Komichi and Mr. Monzora, what was their conduct like when they were doing the MDC Alliance business?
Of course, deception and betrayal were the things that were written all over their faces. But look, well, like what I've told you, we are a democratic party. We believe in bringing people together. We believe in political parties' growth. So we keep you with the hope that you will reform. But look at them. They fail to repent. So who are we then to continuously drag people who can't repent to say stay with us? We have tried so many times to keep these people on board because we believe in bringing people together. The struggle that we are fighting is supposed to be a collective struggle. Every Zimbabwean is genuinely suffering. So anyone who has a contribution that is positive towards bringing change to the people of Zimbabwe, that person is welcome. But if a person then chooses to conduct him or herself in a different manner that is not in line with the production and the processes of the party, we cannot keep that person. We cannot keep sellouts within our midst. Like what I've told you, it might be a difficult thing to know what a person is thinking. But as a party, because we're a democratic party, that believes in broadening the presence of people within the party, we have every reason to keep people. But when a person then chooses to do something contrary to that, we also have every reason to chase that person away, to disown that person. And we are happy that this time around, we're not then forced to chase a person away. Instead, the people chase themselves away by dining and whining with the Zanu-PF.
So would you go in the same way like someone would say that commission was having private meetings with Zanu-PF, with the intelligence, with whatsoever which is against the MDC?
Of course, this is why I've said the conduct of Douglas Monzora and commission are tantamount in automatic expulsion. Because within our framework of a party, we believe that you must walk in the proper direction within the principles and ideals of the party. Once you do something that is contrary and choose to go and dine with the enemy, you cease to be a member of the party. So like what I said earlier on, these guys have worked for a long time with the Zanu-PF. And I told you a clear case of Douglas Monzora. He was at some point a member of Zanu-PF, who even contested for a primary election. But of course, you know that defeat is a trademark for that name Monzora. So he was again defeated at the primary elections. The very same way he was also defeated at a Congress that he attempted to come back as an SG again. It was defeated by the people's favorite, Honorable Chawton Wende.
Okay, your last words to MDC supporters who would love to see their party going forward, would love to see you to lead the party, who also are the youths who wants to hear something from you.
Oh, of course, I've some ways to speak. Number one is that don't be deterred. These are just but sideshows. They have no bearing whatsoever with regards to the operational framework of us as a party. If anything, we are working day in and day out. All hands are on the deck, working towards bringing the reformation agenda to the country of Zimbabwe. We are working towards establishing a people's government, as alluded by our president on the 21st of January 2020, where he set the agenda of the nation. And the agenda that we are working with, agenda number one, is to do with bringing the people's government. We know that we cannot proceed to the next election without addressing the failures of the past. The outcome of the 2018 election was manipulated. And it is our responsibility to ensure that the manipulation is brought to an end, is to ensure that we correct the past mistakes of the Electoral Commission. So going forward, that is our task, that is our focus. Right now, our president is seized with issues to do with our response as a party with regards to the national pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19. All hands are on the deck to ensure that we have a rapid response to the cases that are confronting the people of Zimbabwe. We have seen the demise of the health sector over the years due to the misgovernance of Zanu-PF, as led by one illegitimate leader, Emmerson Mnangagwa. So as a government, our leader is there seized with these issues and trying to provide solutions to the suffering of the masses. And of course, to the young people, my message is very clear. Let us not be intimidated. Let us not be products of selling out. Let's remain solid and let's remain vigilant. Be ready to deliver the people of Zimbabwe from the suffering. Be ready to confront the illegitimate regime without any form of fear. And we are ready to do that. That is going to be our immediate task going forward. This has nothing to do with disturbing our plans. Our plans remain clear. We are not going to be apologetic with regards to demonstrating against the illegitimate regime. We are not going to be apologetic with regards to demonstrating against corruption. We are not going to be apologetic with regards to demonstrating against the mutilation of the Constitution. You know that we have a Constitution that is now about to be mutilated by Emmerson Mnangagwa. And we are not going to allow that as the young people. These are some of the responsibilities and the duties of us as the young people, of us as revolutionaries. And that is the direction that we are going to pursue. Not to focus on these silly issues, the Dagen Monstra. These people are irrelevant with regards to the metrics of leading this country. They are just but political pawns from Zanu-PF. And we don't care about them. We absolutely don't care about them. We care about the lives, bettering the lives of the people of Zimbabwe. We care about eradicating poverty. We care about bringing development to the people of Zimbabwe. We care about having reforms being instituted in Zimbabwe.
Thanks a lot, Mr. for sharing your time with us.
Okay, thank you.